Good evening, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. I'm Nick Smith here with your co-host Ryan Morris, and we've got our expert panel tonight. We've got a great show for you, so hang tight. We'll be right back. Good evening, Giants. Tonight, we're going to talk about how to have a winning vision, and we've got a great expert panel. We have no idea how these are going to go. We just know it's going to be the best show we've ever done. So I'm going to give everybody a chance to go around the room and introduce yourselves. I'm going to start at the top of my screen here with Adriann Meyer. Will you just take a minute and introduce who you are and where you are in the world?
Good morning here from South Africa, in the southern exit point of Africa. My name is Adriann Meyer, and my mission on earth is to raise the consciousness and expand the consciousness of humanity. And it comes in the form of many different projects. At the moment, we're busy doing a consciousness entrepreneurship. That's one of the projects that we do. I coach them, I teach them how to do business and so on. And a lot of it has got to do with the vision. If they create the vision, then they can make it happen. But they have to be open here to do that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Welcome to the show, Daniel Olexa.
Thank you, Nick. My name is Daniel Olexa. I am in northern Sonoma County, right in the heart of wine country of California, and I coach dead people. I help them come back to life and remember similar to Adriann, remember their mission on earth and that they are souls. We signed a contract coming in, both for the opportunities and the challenges. Let's learn it all and live into it.
Perfect. Thank you. Aashi.
Hi, I am stateside at the moment as well, and I am known around the universe as the creator of joy. I'm all about the convergence point of living within a human experience. So that ranges from everything from building smart cities to museum exhibits to working at the pleasure of presidents and kings. So I'm excited to hear what everybody else has to say about the big vision and the big questions. Very excited.
Awesome. Yeah, welcome. Kellan.
Hi, I'm Kellan Fluckiger. I'm in the frozen north, Edmonton, Alberta, which is Western Canada, a few hundred miles north of Montana. So yes, we have perma-snow already. My whole purpose this year, I have a goal this year, and my year goes from October 14th to October 14th. There's a whole story around that, which we won't tell now. But my goal for this year is I'm going to help 50 million people to discover, develop, and serve with their divine gifts and live the ultimate life, which is the life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. And that's what I'm doing. And I have a television show and a 700-episode podcast series, and I've got 18 books, and everything is dedicated to that one single purpose.
So you're not up to much. You're like, yeah. That's awesome. Welcome to the show. Debbi,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi. So yeah, I'm Debbi Sluys, and I am from Ontario, Canada as well. I hear we have snow, but I'm not actually in my home of Ontario. I'm actually in sunny Florida, just living down here for a couple of weeks because I'm the founder of Dare to Declare, which is a coaching company. I'm a personal development and empowerment coach with an expertise on facilitating vision boards. I have an academy where now I have 23 graduates from 5 different countries, and it's growing. And I get to work from anywhere. So why not Florida while it's snowing back home? So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, good to have you. Ryan Morris.
My name is Ryan Morris. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah. They call me Ryan the Lion. I get to teach people and help them to wake up to their giant potential through the 12 journeys and the Sum Gigante coaching, and also co-founder of Wake Up with Giants TV, which we've had all you on, and I love it because you're all giants and my friends, and I love you all. I'm so excited to be here in your company tonight.
That's awesome. Thanks, man. Bill Schuffenhauer.
Oh, I must be in the completely wrong place. I just saw a party going on and I showed up.
Now, how'd you get this link, man? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, as you mentioned, my name is Bill Schuffenhauer, 3-time Olympic silver medalist with Team USA. Part of my purpose of what I do now on a daily basis is, a lot of I have a story where I grew up homeless, drug addicted parents, basically started off in life with absolutely nothing, and against all odds was able to create massive amounts of success, not only through sports, but I'm also a managing partner of 2 technology companies, a coaching and speaking platform called Olympian Speaks, another coaching platform called The Power in You, My Perfect Life Coach. So, in the minutia of life coaches and stuff like that, people that want to really hear like the real, not so fun, like words of advice that are real life experiences, real life knowledge, real life education. I help them figure that out, whether it's in their personal life, sports, or business.
That's awesome. Welcome to the show, Jon Absey.
Hey, how you guys doing? I feel a little bit like you, Bill. I feel like I'm in a way higher level company than I should be here. I was the Utah Jazz Bear for 25 years, and I was able to entertain a lot of people. I don't really help many people with life goals or anything like that, but man, I'll tell you what, I had a good time for 25 years, and now I'm just trying to recreate myself, and I just started 2 companies, and I'm just trying to get myself through that. And thank you, Nick and Ryan, for having me on.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Good to have you.
I'll tell you something about Jon Absey. That dude is always thinking about others. He has handled more charity events than probably all of our guests combined times 10. This dude is like on fire when it comes to giving. So don't let him fool you.
For that. There's a big $10 bill coming your way.
Yes,
I appreciate that.
I mean, I want to echo that too. Obviously, I know Jon pretty well, and the reality of life and the foundation of life is, if you want to succeed in life, you've got to find a way to give service. And Jon is literally the epitome of somebody who will go out of his way to help absolutely anybody, anytime. And I can say this, Jon, you and I've had some great conversations. You've been an inspiration and motivation for me when I needed it, and I didn't even know I needed it. So he likes to sugarcoat what he does and what he brings to the table, but it's a lot, and it's awesome.
I think we'll hear it tonight for sure.
Yeah.
So
you guys are way too nice. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to have you. So we're gonna dive into the conversation, the topic now on vision. So having a winning vision. What I'll have you do is, if you have a comment, just raise your hand and I'll call on you, and we'll have you share and ask you to be efficient as you do so that everybody gets a chance to go through. But we're going to start with a definition of vision. What is vision? Who wants to tackle that? What does that mean for you when you hear that? Yeah, Adrian.
What I found is as part of spiritual coaching people, is when they go through a life quake, they lose vision, not a vision. They lose vision. They can't see. And even when you talk to them, all they hear is themselves. They can't hear you because they're in such a hole that they only hear their own voice echoing back to them. And they can't actually hear or see what you're saying, seeing in a spiritual sense. And then when they land the bottom, then they deaf, dumb, and blind, basically. But then when you introduce what I call a quantum switch into them, where they begin to look up and inward, then they begin to see again, and they begin to hear and feel. But it's like a divine gift that comes into the people, and then they begin to look up inside of themselves, and then they regain vision. And then when you regain the vision, then you can give them a vision where they can go to, and then they can see that vision. And when they can see that vision, then the process is to get them on the path to realizing that thing in reality. I hope this makes sense.
Yeah. Does that bring up anything? Yeah. Debbi? And then Kellan.
Yeah, I love that we've gone deep real quick. That's awesome.
Yeah, let's do it.
So for me, yeah, I just want to piggyback on that and just say that vision, what comes up for me is clarity. And I think the universal laws really demonstrate, like, the universe wants order. And so what it does is it creates a sense of order by giving, I love giving my clients to help them facilitate that order with clarity. And the other piece of it is that it is an expression of gratitude. So most people think about it as like wanting, getting, what can I get? You know, we talked about right away about this generosity, this idea of generosity. In fact, it's actually an expression of gratitude. So because we've all been given this gift of life, and we have a choice every day what we want to do with this gift. Do we just want to be lackadaisy about it and just sort of float through? Or do we want to get purposeful, intentional, and create a beautiful vision, which, again, I'm a Christian, but whatever your belief is, but to me, it's an act of worship to my creator to say, thank you, because I'm going to dream and stretch as large as I possibly can into this gift. And when we are in that state of gratitude, that develops trust that all things are exactly the way it's supposed to be. And then again, that we just attract what we create for that vision. So that would be my definition.
I like that. Kellan, go ahead, and then we'll go to Jon Absey and Daniel.
So the word vision, three things came up for me. One is a person's ability to see, which was talked about to start with. We lose that. And we can lose it, and often people do. Another thing is a vision, something that we see. And the third thing that I had experienced is an external vision that was given. So, like probably most folks here, I went through decades of depression. I was a drug addict and had been married and divorced 3 times and attempted suicide a couple times. And that ended in 2007 when I had a vision that was given as an invitation. And I certainly agree with what was said to start with. I was not able to see anything. That vision gave me a sight of a possibility. It was actually an invitation. And every time we have an interaction between the divine and us, it's always issued as an invitation. We have to either say yes or no. And when we ignore it, we ignore it. And when we don't, we can live into that vision. Then it becomes a vision or a thing to accomplish. So it's my ability to see. It's something that's given sometimes by the words or intervention or book, or in my case, a divine intervention, to see another possibility and then to create a vision to live into. And we're all, we're divine beings. We were given gifts when we came here. That was the gifts we came with. What we do with those gifts and what we make out of ourselves is the gift that we give back when we go home.
Yeah, I'm hearing a theme here. So you have a life quake and you lose the vision and you drop down to the lowest where you can't see anything. And then Debbi, you talk about the clarity and you step into that. And then Kellan, you either are given that vision or you find that vision, you start seeing hope again, right? Is that kind of the idea? Yeah. Jon Absey, did you have a thought you wanted to add to that?
Well, I did until he just went. I was just thinking, because but it's so different, because my vision, when you said vision, the first thing I thought of was mascotting, and I always had a problem getting my vision across to management, getting my vision across to people to understand what I was going to go do on the floor for, 2 minutes. And, supposedly it was going to be entertaining. But that's what I struggled with, was that vision, trying to be able to verbalize, this is what I'm thinking. This is why I think it's going to work. And then when I thought of vision, I thought of it as, I used to, I could see, Bill, I'm sure this relates to you. I could see, just like you in the track, but I could see what was going to happen on the floor. I could see every little nuance that was supposed to happen. And what always happened is I would start to doubt myself, because I was listening to everybody else saying, I don't know if I like that, or I don't think it's going to work. But it's because I couldn't explain my vision well enough. But that was the hard thing for me, is being able to get it across. I knew what I could see on the floor, but then I started letting doubt come in because of other people. And I had to always fight through that and continue that one vision that I had in the first place. And the best thing of all was to go out there and prove everybody wrong and have a killer skit, So that's what I like.
Yeah. Daniel, do you have something that ties into that?
I think it ties into everything, actually, as my head's about to explode here. This is awesome. So I think of vision both as transactional and transformational, that we get caught into what we learn in our incarnation that's right in front of us. What does our family think? What's our what do we learn as what we think we're deserving of. And when we tap into that deeper soul awareness, that's when we light up in our belly and know that we're living into a bigger purpose. And when Debbi said the universe wants order, it reminded me that the universe not only wants order, the universe is order. And we're the ones right up here that bring the chaos to it, because everything in the universe follows the path of least resistance, except seemingly us. We make it difficult on ourselves.
Huh. Yeah. Aashi, did you have a thought around that?
Oh, goodness. I mean, after hearing what everybody's saying, I mean, I just have one word for you: alignment. It's about alignment, not just passion with purpose, but alignment in your cores, your values. And one of the nicknames I've earned around the world is I've been called Miss Disney. I know, big shoes to fill, but it's about making your dreams come true and creating that magic. And that magic and purpose comes from here, your head, your heart, your mind, your soul, on what I like to call divine time, universal time, right? But once again, it has to be aligned, because even if it's off by 0.0001%, it doesn't matter if it's by a width of a hair or a height of a mountain. It's still off, right? So it's got to align with everything spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and all of the above, working together to create that perfect sauce in this place we call the universe, right? The multiverse, as I like to call it. So,
now, is there a differing view around that? Is it always about alignment? I mean, is there somebody that maybe sees it a little differently? I like to throw wrenches in.
I think sometimes you're discovering your vision too. You could create a vision of what you want to be, where you want to be, but right behind me, I'll move this way. In your book, actually, Remy and Rit, he stands on a shoulder of a giant and sees a different perspective. It was always there. He just got an elevated view. And sometimes when we step forward, I do agree with Aashi on you want it to be in alignment as much as possible. And as you're moving forward, you want to feel into it. The more you can do that, the more real it becomes, and the more it can draw you into that future vision.
Yeah, Bill.
But we're also human. We make lots of mistakes, and so as you move forward, the path can kind of open up, and it'll teach you so you can spiral up and elevate as well to become more perfect in that, I guess.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm going to go to Kellan, then I'm going to come to Bill. So Kellan, if that's okay, Bill, I'm going to put you on the spot. But Kellan, go ahead. We got you muted.
Okay, sorry about that. So I agree with alignment, but not but anything. If you think about that, we're all in the process of becoming. The alignment is not a moment when everything is perfect. There's no such thing. There is a process of becoming, and so the alignment of all those things, spiritual, physical, emotional, mental, may be just in the process of becoming. It's the engine. And things feel out of alignment a lot, but they only feel out of alignment when we are imposing our microscopic understanding on top of stuff. Like we have the idea that things need to be, I call it the MST problem, manner, size, and time. I have a definition that things ought to happen a certain way at a certain size and a certain time, whatever it is. And I think that I've done the requisite whatever. And obviously I don't know anything, right? And the more I live, the longer I live, and the more I do, the less I know. And that's okay. And, surrendering and relaxing into that perfection of alignment is an allowance of the process of becoming. And I wanted to add one other little thing because of the what I think people are thinking, the doubt that comes in. I have a name for that, and it is the Witot fungus, and it's spelled WITOT. And I always tell clients, well, it kills more people than COVID ever will. And Witot stands for what I think others think. And it's a disease that we carry until we stop, right? And we allow it to infect what we think is possible, what we're willing to try, what we're willing to envision, how we're willing to surrender to and lean into that sort of alignment.
Yeah, thank you. Bill, I want to ask you, I'm going to dive into that. So the Witot, and then you, like you said, you grow into something that maybe you didn't think you would become, right? Were you always a silver medalist? I mean, was that always the vision?
Yeah, there's a lot of very good definitions of what vision is, and we all have our own personal thoughts on what that is, what that looks like, what that sounds like. For me, I like to simplify things. Somebody made a comment earlier that I utilize all the time. As human beings, we tend to make things way more complicated than they need to be when the answer is definitely usually right in front of us. For me, when I hear the word or say the word vision, that can mean a whole lot of things. That leaves a lot to be defined, right? I think about it now because we all talk about in our rightful places about being in alignment, and I can say for the first time, well, yeah, even when I was winning Olympic medals, for the first time in my life, I am like literally 95% in alignment, and my vision for that looks a lot different than maybe a year ago when I thought that my vision was in alignment, when I thought my vision was going down the right path. But at the same time, we could also talk to somebody who's literally down and out. Their life is miserable. Nothing's going well in their life. And their vision is defined by how bad their life is, right? So the vision is something that we see at the foundation. It's what you see. It's what you envision. It's what you see. Now, what we need to do with that is try to figure out how do we bring clarity and health and mindfulness and all these things that we're talking about to that vision to help, whether it's ourselves or somebody else. Because again, like I look back at what I was doing a year or 2 years ago, and in my vision, I was like, man, everything's going really well. I'm happy. This is going well. This is going well. But now looking back, because I do a lot of reflection on the past and the steps that got me to where I'm at, I'm like, my vision wasn't as clear as I thought it was. And you get to know that once you actually get into a space of true life alignment, which in my definition is, 85, 90% of your life is in alignment. And when I say that, like I wake up every day and great things happen on a daily basis for me. And I've never had that happen where it's constantly daily happening. But that's because I've now been able to really bring clarity to my vision and get a good understanding of where it is I want to go, people I want to work with, who I want to help, who I want to get help from, so on and so on. So, to answer your question, like, have I always been an Olympian? Maybe. I know from the time I decided that I wanted to go to the Olympics as a 7th grader that I knew I envisioned one day that I would be an Olympian. And as some of you guys know my story, it started off in track and field. That didn't work out. And we pivoted and we adapted and switched over to a completely different sport and found success that way. But the vision itself was always to be an Olympian.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So the vision, the end goal was always there. The end vision, right, was always there. Now, how important, Jon, I'm going to go to you first and then I'm going to pull in before you talk. I'm going to pull in one question that I'm going to have you guys hang on is how important is who is doing the viewing, right? Because Bill, you hit on that a little bit of who's doing the viewing is as important as the doing, right? And so, Jon, go ahead and then we'll come back to that question there.
Okay, so I'm sitting here and I'm listening to everybody, and I'm listening to how everybody's talking about. This is kind of more of a question. I'm learning or leaning towards a question.
Yeah, do it.
And I'm listening, and everybody sits and talks about how alignment and your vision. And I know Bill's story, and I know my story, and I know that both of us had vision, but it went the other way, and everybody's saying, "Oh, clarity." I mean, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And nope, it went to a right. And then all of a sudden I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I could see out where I was supposed to be because I was supposed to go to law school. I ended up a mascot. I mean, that's a right turn. I mean, and Bill, the same thing, he was football and then he turned into an Olympian. And then like, when do you realize that, I might feel like everything's in alignment, but, I need to just say, this is the way I go, and it's not in alignment, and it's going to be chaos, and I got to figure it out again and move this way. Because that's how my life was. It was, I shut every door and then one would open up, and it was, my vision didn't happen, and I still don't have vision, man. My life is just all over. But like, when do you realize that, You know, as much as you want this to be your vision, it might not be where you need to be at this moment. Okay, I'm done.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Daniel, you had a thought there?
Yeah, I think again, it seems like it all ties together because I was that guy 8 years ago.
Yeah.
It seemed like everything was alignment. I was in my first marriage. I was working sales. I almost tripped on the word happy there. I had to hold back on it. I was rolling along, and the marriage ended. The job ended. I was in a miserable soul-sucking job. But at that point in time, on again, going back to transactional level, I was somewhat in alignment functioning. When that cracked, that's when the bigger vision opened up, because what seemed like a clear lens in front of me broke. I was able to see into the next level of it and feel it. And when that hit me, I felt it down in my core, and I just knew there was this deep internal wisdom sitting right here in my solar plexus. It was like, yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
But it would not the bigger vision and the longer term clarity would not have come if I hadn't cracked.
Interesting. Yeah. Aashi, go ahead.
So first things first, if we're talking about the true concept of what alignment really is, and I love the chakras. I mean, like right on, I'm all for it. I mean, that tether, right, from the crown right all the way down, I'm all for it. That's true alignment, right? But let's talk about this for a second. You have to be flexible, right? I mean, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have taken turns up out there in your Alpha Centauri and come on right back. And I'll tell you, you have to be flexible. I think all of us understand this. What you have and how you get there is not always going to be written in stone, right? Castaway, fate, bing, bang, boom. So that's one. But two, once again, that true alignment, if you're truly aligned, all of those check marks that you just talked about, bing, 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 all the way down, no question. So let's make sure we clarify here. There's clarity. There's what people think is alignment. There's true alignment. And here's what I tell my clients. There's no transition time. You either are or you're not. There's no transition. You're either in that God space and in that divine space, or you're not. You're either aligned or you're not. So let's be clear about that. But I also will say one last thing here on this point. It's that when we're at our most broken and at our most downfall or our worst of moments, where we're the most open to change, right? So that's, I feel like, where you have that coming to light moment where you accept what the universe is giving you, not because you want it, because you put out what you want to the universe will give you what you need. And it could be different than what you want. And eventually it takes you to where you want.
Yeah, I want to hit on that. Debbi, before we dive into that is vision. We hear that word vision. You got to see it, right? But I think it was Laban Ditchburn on our show, Debbi, that said, well, what if the person is blind? What if they have aphantasia and they can't see imagery? So what is vision? And Debbi, before we go there, go ahead and share what you were going to share. And if you want to dive down that rabbit hole with me,
yeah,
can you do that? Yeah.
He's a character, that guy. I was like, man, I have never been asked that question before. I was like, what, really? But it's awesome because it's not about the goals. It's not about pulling yourself up by the bootstraps and going get her done. That's not with creating a vision board anyways. Like, a vision is different from goals. I distinguish the two differently, right? A vision requires divine intervention, which means that when it manifests, it's a miracle. And what you realize is that it's actually bigger and better than what we can humanly conjure up. Because our blinders, we can only see this, which is what we've been experienced, taught, what we know within our culture. What the divine has in store for us is over here. Sorry, I'm going way bigger.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's going to look different, which doesn't mean that the vision hasn't manifested. In fact, it's manifested, but it's just manifested in such a bigger and better way. So I just wanted to distinguish between the two around goals, and then to answer and tie that into what Laban had said is that what we haven't really talked about, I don't know if this is what you mean about alignment, but it's really about emotion and feelings. Yeah. I don't know if you remember, Nick, when I did the exercise, the diamond exercise around creating your vision.
Yeah.
And then, your real vision is actually the emotion, the feelings when it manifests. So whether you're going to be an Olympian doing track or whether you're going to be an Olympian doing something else, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly what you accomplished in, but it was this grade 7er that was like, I am going to be that guy who's like, yeah, gold medal, baby. Like that feeling, like, and so that's what you manifested was that piece, right? And so how you get there, like that's not what we have to worry about. We just got to be putting one foot in front of the other and creating goals. But anyways, I get geeked out on this stuff. So
this is perfect. Yeah. Adrian, I saw your hand go up. Go ahead and
yeah. For me, a lot about vision is not where I'm going, but what I'm bringing into the world. Because when I have a vision, it's an inside job really. This is what I'm here to do, and I do it wherever I show up. There's like a bridge of incidents that comes up. You know, it's my commitment to be this person in the world, and then the bridge of incidents is like, what is God's business and what's my business? I put my vision out there, and I go. And every now and then something will pop up from God's business into my business and say, pay attention to this. And then I align all my energy, my thought, my feeling, my emotion, and my action in that direction. And it's amazing how that works. It just goes, it's like swimming a mind stream where you just keep on going. It's not, you know, you don't even look for problems because whatever shows up, you know, okay, you know, there's either a way around or under this thing. And it just, you know, life shows up in a different way when you have that vision. And alignment is actually easy when you decide to, okay, this is where I'm going. The bridge of incidents has shown me do this now, and then I do this. Because for me, it's about what I'm bringing into the world, who I'm being into the world. I am here to raise the consciousness and to bring light. My ministry, I call it, is called the Light Express. So bring light wherever you are. And inevitably, you will go into the darkness, even your own, because you have to bring that out. So bring light, bring light, bring light everywhere. And then you allow that bridge of incidents to just take you. So it's not a fixed vision of a house on a hill kind of thing, or that it can be that. But that will be a facility from which to realize the bigger vision of who I am.
Thank you for that. Jon, I saw your hand go up there.
So, another question.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw this back out to you.
Yeah.
Like, so another is, like, what about somebody like, okay, I'm just saying, somebody like me, like I'm listening to everybody and you guys are all talking about, you know, focus and in line. What about being able to still do everything you guys are saying, but in a chaotic life, like chaos, but it's good. Like, I feel like, cause I wanted to be an attorney. I ended up being a mascot. I said I'd come out here for a year. I've been out here 30 years. I wanted to do a bunch of charity stuff. So I did that. I was doing mascot. I mean, I was just all over the place, but never in alignment. You know what I mean? Because I felt like if I ever got into an alignment and I looked at, this is what I'm going to do, I wouldn't have been able to do everything that I've accomplished already. Does that make sense? You know?
Yep.
Okay, there you go.
Yep. Daniel, you want to tackle, and then we'll go to Aashi.
Yeah. Who's to say that alignment is all harmony?
Exactly.
There's classical music and there's improvisational noise, but it's all music.
Sometimes it's messy and loud.
Well, I mean, you know, just like what you're saying too, and obviously I know Jon a little. I know Jon really well, and Jon's alignment is a very different definition of everyone else's alignment. Mine is different than everyone else's. You know, I talked to somebody today and they're very successful and they're like, you know what? I work 60 to 80 hours a week. And I'm like, drives me crazy. I'm like, I run 2 technology companies, a speaking company, coaching business, and all these different things. And I might work 4 or 5 hours a day, but that's what I envisioned for myself. And that's what I built my architecture to do exactly what I want. So, you know, to answer your question, Jon, because I know you and I love you, your alignment is chaotic more than most people, but that's what works for you.
Okay, Aashi, did you have a thought there?
No, I do. I have a couple of thoughts. One to share with Mr. Olympian over there in the corner, looking handsome as always in that gorgeous orange color. The concept of chaos, like embrace it, right? You know, you either follow the growth or accept the stagnation, right? And you have to accept your truth of who and what you are and where you want to be. Absolutely, 100%. I concur. But it also goes back to instinct, I mean, I'm a very instinctual person. Even, I'm somebody who loves to live in the rainbow storm. Like, that's where I live. That is my home. I am in that peaceful, serene place, surrounded by the chaos, and I'm tethering it all in. And I live for that every minute of every day. And if I don't get that every minute of every day, I'm not fulfilled. But you embrace it, right? But it's instinctual. So if you've got chaos going on, you love being in the chaos, go with that instinct. And once again, that fits into the alignment. If you're not following your instincts, something's very wrong there. So go with instinct. That's my rule of thumb on this.
Is there a one size fits all when it comes to vision? Kellan, I see your head there. Do you want to tackle that?
Say no.
So I had several things that came up for me. I don't know you, Mr. Mascot, and I apologize, I've forgotten your name. So tell me one thing. Jon Absey.
I've been called way worse, Mr. Mascot's actually really nice.
So here's two things that I know. The first thing that I know is I love you. And the second thing that I know is that if we talked for an hour, there is absolute alignment in the heart and the purpose that you carry. I know that, like the wall behind you is white, or sort of white, or any other thing that you want to use as a thing. So notionally, the idea that alignment has eluded you is simply not true. You have something there that is carrying you forward. And so that I just know from looking, and the accolades that were given to you about what's that?
Yeah, well, the Wittod, right? Does that tie in?
Well, I lived that way for a long time. I was worried about what everybody thought, and I'm hearing all these people talk about this stuff, and I didn't have that intervention in my life to change things until I was 52. I lived 35 years from when I left home at 17 until I was 52 in the chaos of a roller coaster of madness without getting any help or doing anything. And yes, I created a lot of wealth and had high positions, but I kept ruining them. And I lived with this, including a couple of suicide attempts, as I mentioned, until that happened. But that didn't happen until I was 52. And so I didn't have a vision about anything. And I have something to say that's funny about clarity. And somebody's going to get mad at me when I say it, but here it is. Clarity is overrated. It is not found, it is created. Okay, you don't go searching for it in the backyard. People act like they're going to go dig it up in the yard. I'm going to go find it somewhere. Nonsense. You create clarity by what you do. The language for me is ready, fire, steer. Like, go do shit. Okay, and then you're going to figure out the right direction. And if it's chaotic while you do that, okay, don't get married to any piece of the vision. I figured out a long time ago, I'm way too narrow-minded and I can't see enough. So I'm just tethered to the large scale, and I'm going to go forward and move in that direction of inspiration and intuition. And that's my vision. And I have no idea what's going to happen in any given day. And good things happen and bad things happen, only not really, because it's all good. It's all, what if, as a possibility, what if every single thing that happens, whether you like it or not, or want it or not, is simply an experience I get to enjoy? And then take something from it. I don't care what it is or what I thought it would be or wouldn't be. So that to me is the whole thing. And so I didn't even start on this journey until I was 52.
Okay, I want to play with something around this, because what I hear in that is just go do shit, right? And feel it. But also, what of the pre-membering, the memories of things yet to be, the creation? Like you said, the creation creates the clarity. And so why not play with the vision? Why not play with creating whatever you can imagine? Jon Absey, you talk about, I did this, and then I had the vision to do this, and then I had the vision to do that. So it's almost like there's this thought that we have to limit ourselves to one grand vision and we're done. right? And it sounds like there's more than just one vision.
I don't have enough brains to have one grand vision. So I'm tethered to something larger, and I'm willing to let my limited eyesight, and I have really crappy eyes anyway. My vision is like 2,500. So it's a metaphor for spiritual vision. I got no idea what the divine was. Somebody said it's like this wide earlier. Of course it is. How dare I think at any point in my pissant little walk of life that I've got to have any sight at all. I'm just ready to go, and I'm going to do exactly what you said. I'm going to create this vision. I'm going to go do that until I either do it or change it. Yay! And that's just all experiences. I'm sorry I'm talking too much.
You're doing great. I love it. Any other thoughts come up from that?
No, I think that technically, you know, like you were saying, is you know, you can have all the visions you want, but I think that, and like, I am so sorry,
Kellan,
what you had mentioned about, you know, your alignment and having a direction. I think that, you know, as long as your direction in life, you know, I think you could get away with the chaos as long as your direction in life is more about who you are and not about what you want to be, you know, or like where I, you know, like I want to do this or I want to do that or make $1 million or do this as a job, but to be really concise on who you are as a person, what you want to give out, and, you know, not hoping that you get anything back, but just knowing that I'm going to keep giving and I'm going to give out to the universe, and hopefully, you know, it can make a difference and make a change. And I think if you can, you know, whittle that down, and that is the one thing that you can at least focus on, I think that is something you have control over, which is you. You know, everybody wants to control everything out there with their vision and doing this and that. But the only thing that you really are in control of is you, your heart, and your soul.
Beautiful. Debbie, yeah, go ahead.
I just like this concise. Some of you have probably heard this before, but most people think about creating a vision or a vision board as stuff, like what do I want to have? So I start with a have. What can I have? And then what do I need to do, the doing, to have that stuff? And then I'm going to be happy. And it's actually completely opposite, right?
Be, do, have.
Be, do, and have. Who do I get to be? The best version of me. So when we keep our focus on that, and that becomes our vision, and we don't get distracted with the doing and the having, and we just focus on the being. And I think that's what Kellan was saying earlier about becoming. And when we focus on that, then everything else aligns and falls into place.
It just expresses. It expresses from who you're being. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Adriann?
Yeah, it's all about being, you know, picking up from where Kellan was earlier, saying that, you know, we build this identity that we have as young kids, and then we have this person that we want to be and have and all that kind of stuff, and then we have this amazing little life quake that destroys everything, and then the being comes out, because then you have then you really have chaos, because everything that you thought you were then becomes meaningless, and then you have to go and sit back, and that's where the divine intervention comes in that says, actually, you weren't that stuff. You are this person. This is life is showing up through you in any case. So you need to decide what is going to show up from your being. When you start doing that, then there can be chaos around you. You're dancing in the rain. You know, it just doesn't matter. You can run from the one shelter to the next shelter. It's all an experience. And you can pull people out of the rain. That's your mission, to pull them out of the rain and say, okay, fine, you know, dry yourself up often now, go back into the rain and go play, you know, and just do that, enjoy that. Because if we're so stuck onto what we want to create, then we live in frustration, because it never turns out that way. But when we go into the being side and say, you know, I'm being love, I'm being joy, and that's something that I am, someone that I am, and then I do it wherever. It doesn't matter. That's my vision, to bring that into the world. And then it's like creation just opens up for you. And that's where the pre-remembering comes in. I say, okay, I remember that. And I start building that future from the past, or I start building a new past from the future. It's a bit weird, but it actually works that way. It's like I pre-remember what I'm creating there on that side. And then when it's finished creating, then, okay, choop, in this direction, and then choop, in that direction. and it's a whole adventure. It's almost like digging for gold and finding other things. Okay, fine, I found this now. It's not that. Let's go there. But to have the courage, just keep on going and saying, I surrender into the vision.
This is beautiful, because this is all coming back. It goes from an external thing. When you talk about vision, it goes from out here, because that's how we think of vision. It always comes back into the internal, like who's showing up to do your world. So Jon Absey, like going into your thought there, it doesn't matter what you create, right? Because of who you are in the world and how you show up, everything you touch is going to be some form of successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts around that? Anything come up? Yeah, Kellan, and then Debbi, and then Daniel.
If anytime you want to tell me it's not my turn, you can.
Well, your hand was up, so it looked like
it was,
your turn.
but I'm talking more than maybe I should. So look, I had this wildly chaotic life until I was 52. The story is impossible to tell in a short time, so I won't even try. But it was wildly chaotic, and I have discovered two things in the last 15 years. And it all simplifies down to two things. And I've read 1 million books and all the rest of it. The first thing is a document that I created that is a declaration of who I am. And it changes all the time, and I get to play with it, and I love it, and I massage the words until it lights me up. And I don't need anybody's permission. I don't need anybody's agreement. The most powerful words in the language are "because I said so." So if someone challenged you, why are you doing this, or how are you going to do that? The answer is because I said so. I have declared I am this. Why? Because I said so. That's who I decide. Because as an infinitely creative person, that creating that, and I play with it all the time and memorize it, and I listen to it every day and I recite it every day. Why? Because that drives me, and that creates the kind of alignment we've talked about and drives the goals and the surrender and everything else. So the second thing is, after you create that, and we go to all kinds of seminars and read books about creating these lists of things, and most of them are useless and don't do anything. And the reason is because of the second thing. The second thing is I created a process every single day, because for some reason, God created us to spend a third of our lives dead in bed, right? So we go to bed and we sleep and then we wake up again. You could have created us so we're awake all the time. You didn't. Okay. So I think of it as we die every night and we're awake every morning. Cool. Then that means the most important thing I can do every morning is recreate myself and create myself again according to this thing that I declare as my guiding thing. And so making those declarations and then creating myself in line with that and making adjustments as I need to every single day so I can simply be that in all cases, in all places, and all the time, then that is my vision. And those are the two things that make everything easy.
So you create the creator to do the creating. Am I off?
No. It's a joyful, fun process to live, to create the declarations and then to live into them every day and figure out new and interesting ways and ask myself every day, am I responding? Am I living from this place? If that's who I am, okay, cool. How would that act? What would that say? That person, who would me as that say and do and be right now? And then it's really easy to decide what to do and what to say in every situation. If I declare that I'm love and I pour over your heart like warm sunshine, okay, cool. If that's who I am, what would that say right now? Well, then it's not complicated. And decisions become easy and things get really clear. So those two things are how I live.
I love that. Debbi, you had some thoughts too?
Yeah, you just said it so eloquently. So I just want to talk about the self-image script, which I think is so crucial that you were saying as well, because our self-image essentially determines who we become. And the thing is that the other piece of that is to create affirmations, or to have that as an affirmation, to have the auto-suggestion so that it breaks down the paradigms of what have been built and calcified over time with all this messaging. So when we have, like you said, I love that you play with your script and that it keeps growing. You talked about Laban earlier. I'll tell you, that guy challenged me big time because he said he is the world's best. And so we got on a call one time and he's like, say it, Deb, declare it, because that's the name of my company, Dare to Declare. He goes, declare, I am the best vision board facilitator in the world. And inside, I cringed. You know what? I have that. That's my self-image script. Nobody does vision boards better than me. I am the best in the world. It is done, and I love it. So I think that's when it gets really powerful. Yeah.
Beautiful. Daniel, you had a thought, and then we'll go to Bill.
Yeah, and this has been tapping me for a few minutes, and I noticed what Steve Hardison just wrote: self-creation is the ultimate creation, self-love the ultimate spirituality. And I was called to grab this crystal that's sitting on my desk in this whole thing of the external and the internal, and how on one level we are the crystal, and is it judging itself with all of its fractals and fissures in it? Is it judging itself as not being clear and perfectly beautiful? Or is the crystal a collective of all of us? And because just happens that light comes through this one and refracts in its way, does this one sense it differently and judge it? Or is it all of us? And we are all the universe, all creating and making this beautiful thing all in one time. And it's all just one big crystal. It's all one big diamond. And we're perceiving through our facets of what the being is.
Yeah. See, I just had the image of a tree. Like, which branch is the successful one? Right. That's kind of how we look at it. Bill, go ahead. You had a thought there?
Yeah, just a couple thoughts. I mean, I want to give a shout out to the people on Facebook because their comments coming through are absolutely awesome. And then everyone on here, you know what? We're all right. I mean, at the end of the day, all of us are educated by education, book, experience, and so on to understand and give a definition of what vision is. But I love the conversation. Is it what, Julie?
Debbie?
Debbie, sorry, Debbie,
Yep.
sorry. But we
I'll
started
help
getting
all you
on-
out. So
yeah, we just started talking about like, you know, your I guess kind of like your vision of who you are and so on and so on. And you know, I always talk about when I was a 7th grade kid, right? When you're supposed to be out playing, having fun, doing all that stuff. Well, obviously that was not my life. You know, drug addicted parents, foster homes, living on the streets. And when I had an opportunity to see something bigger and better, and somebody told me about being an Olympian, as a 7th grader, I envisioned that one day I was going to be an Olympian. And just like what Debbie was saying, I didn't have anybody to guide me, but I told myself every day for I don't know how many years, from the time I was in 7th grade until I was 28 years old, that I was going to be an Olympian. And I eventually manifested that. And then obviously once I did it a few more times. But it's the same thing now in business too, right? Like when I retired in 2010, similar to Kellan, I went through an absolute chaotic life. Jon knows about it. I've talked to him quite a bit about it. Depression, suicide, you know, blah, 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 you name it. I was into that space, but that's what I visioned for myself. I couldn't see, my vision was right here. And that's all I could see was day to day. I isolated myself. I was an alcoholic. I was an addict. I gave up on myself. So that's kind of what I manifest on a daily basis because that's what I saw. But when I got to a point where I was like, I actually have already found success based off of a vision I had a long time ago. All I got to do is just go back to that. You know, I made a quote, and I've done it a few times, that successes of my past were once dreams of my future, right? And as a business person now, like I envision or have a vision for exactly where my companies are going to go and what we're going to do with them. But I have to tell myself that all the time too, because I don't, you know, when it comes to technology, I don't know a lot about technology. I'm thankful I've got 2 partners that are phenomenal at it. But I tell myself on a daily basis, when I wake up every day, like Kellan says, and recreate myself daily, I get up and I look in the mirror and I'm like, I'm going to be one of the most successful technology business people in the world. And I tell myself, even though as far-fetched as that may seem, but I know I can do it because I did it in the sports world when I came from nothing and achieved all that too. So I just wanted to make a comment and thank everyone here and all the Facebook people, because I could do this all day long. This is awesome. I love it.
yeah, cool. Let's do this. We've got about 6 minutes left. So I want to go around the room and each of you share some final thoughts in about a minute. That's kind of tough, but we'll go about a minute. I'll start with Adriann. What other final thoughts do you want to share around vision for those that are watching?
The sharper your inner vision is that you are what you're creating in the world, not a thing, but who you are, the more the details of life takes care of themselves. It's quite amazing to have that where you're living in the vision, not for the vision. Then the details of life begin to just take care of themselves. It's quite magic in a way, but that's where the power is. So the power is for us to just go and find that, who am I to be here? And then every day ask, what would love have me create today? And allow the divine to just take care of some of the details. You don't have to worry about it. Just do it.
Like that, we do need to get more sponsors, Hugh, so we can go 2 hours. Daniel, you want to go? You have a final thought there?
Yeah, as everyone comes to connection with their vision, whether we use the word alignment, whether we're coming from the being, and you go through those challenges that test you, whether it's coming from people outside of you or even the thoughts in your own head, anything that's telling you you cannot do it is lying to you. And when you find that other inner voice, the one that's driving you to the vision that tells you you can, that's the one that's telling you the truth, and it's time to turn the volume up on it.
I love that. Yeah, thank you. Aashi.
So coming at it from the person who started really young as well. I mean, I started off my venture in the business world before I even had a driver's permit. I was doing things that people do at the age of 50 before I was 14. Okay, my first best-selling book internationally was before I was 18 even. And I'm going to tell this to the younger people out there because we don't address this nearly enough. Eat no for breakfast. Do not wait for someone to tell you it's your time or it's not your time, excuse me. If they're telling you it's your time, go team go. But if they're telling you it's not your time and for you to take a step back, don't listen to them. I promise you that's going to be the biggest regret you will carry with you every single day. Tune out the voices, wondering if you belong in those rooms, wondering if you belong in those conversations. Shut it out. You're there for a reason. Get it done. Believe in yourself. And I promise you will have some of the closest people in your life wonder what you're thinking. And if you've left your body for some sort of existential experience, if you have, come on back, you'll enjoy yourself. But do yourself that favor and keep going, because the number of times I've been told no, or people are questioning my sanity, like, you want to be retired by the time you're 40? Like, no. I'm retired from this space by the time I'm 40. I'm retired from like 4 different careers, people, and I'm like just 36 years old. I have a little bit more I want to do before I'm permanently retired, but say my advice, and do not take the word no. Eat it for breakfast with that OJ, that protein shake.
I was going to ask you if that's with milk or, but OJ works
too.
too.
You want it to be at that table. To each your own.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Kellan, do you have some final thoughts?
I do. I changed my background to the Phoenix because it's the thing that we've all talked about here. And here's the thing. I don't care. I really don't where you've been or what's happened before. The declarations that you make, whether it's never taking no for an answer or reminding yourself that you love yourself or creating yourself in the morning, like, you own your life and you're going to create it, whether you mean to or not, or whether you do it accidentally or not. So do it on purpose. Make powerful declarations. I don't care if you declare yourself to be the best. I don't care what in the world. Own that and say it enough and be grateful and live into that possibility. Nobody can limit you. Anyone here, me, or anyone listening. Nobody can do that except you. And when you realize that, the answer is, why would you do that? I, for one, need your gifts and talents. I want to see you in full blossom. Everyone here and everyone listening. I want to see you all in every time you breathe. I want to see it. I want to enjoy that beauty. I'm done.
I love it. Thank you. Debbi.
Couple thoughts. I just think we've been talking about the younger self, and Bill, you're talking about your grade 7 version. And I think I was privileged to work with a grade 6 class about 3 weeks ago with 30 grade 6 kids. And a little guy come up and he says, I don't really know what I'll talk about my power word. I don't really know what my power word is. I said, well, tell me about your purpose. If you had all the resources in the world, how would you change the world? He goes, you know what? He says, I think that the answer to disease is found in the ocean. I want to explore the ocean for the answers to disease. And I'm like, kid, I'm going to follow you because you are up to big things. And so I think as adults with these big thoughts and ideas, we get to share them with the younger generation, because they're thinkers and they're doers and they're so passionate. And so I wanted to share that. And for anyone who's watching, if you want to know where to start with creating a vision, start with a single word. Think about your word for 2023, call it your power word, hang on to it, use it as your beacon, as your focus, and have it be inspire, motivate you. And we talked about giving you clarity. And when you're going through tough times, that word's going to give you, again, that sense of getting back in alignment to where you want to be. So I just wanted to give that as my final thought.
That's awesome. Thank you. Ryan?
Yeah, years and years ago, I had a vision and a dream of being surrounded by coaches, people in the self-help industry. Les Brown was one. That was a specific person, but I don't care if that ever comes true or not. And here's the reason, is because daily I've been able to immerse myself with people of equal caliber with you. And I've had the opportunity to sit with all of you in conversation, and some more than others, but each of you has blessed my life. If you're sitting at home and you think that you can't be, do, or have something, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's pretty strong. That's just not true. You're amazing. You're a freaking miracle. Look what all these people have created. Just like Kellan said, rising from the ashes. They've been in some, I know their stories. I know what they've been through. They've been through some stuff. Your Everest, whatever you're going through, you can get through it. And it's in there. You have the ability to be a giant. Keep stepping forward, keep moving, and then if you need to, lean on others. That's all I've done. Is I've just grabbed onto coattails and look, I'm here right now in front of some of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. These people have accomplished some amazing things, and I get to ride their coattails and be right there with them doing my purpose, what fills me up, and creating at the exact same time. So you can do it. Keep going. I love you all. Thank you so much for being a part and being here. Thank you for blessing my life.
Yeah, thank you. Bill, you got some final words?
Yeah, as always. And first and foremost, again, thank you to everyone who's on here. I love this stuff. It just helps me elevate my life on a daily basis, listening to so many other like-minded people. And I always love hearing stories of overcoming adversity to achieve whatever it is that you want in life, right? And like you were saying, you get to ride our coattails, but you know what? We get to ride your coattails too, because there's not a day I don't get up. And I told you the other day, I took a video of my Giants and Small shirt when I was in Hawaii, because I think about this all the time, and it's a huge deal. But, the thing I want to close on is, whatever your vision is for people out there, and you're exactly right. Whatever situation you're in, how bad, negative, positive it is, you can accomplish and achieve anything. Like, I am living proof. I got a documentary out there that the International Olympic Committee called Against All Odds, because my life was so crappy growing up. So you can do it. But what I want to say in that manner, and I'll let it go to Jon, is that your vision, no matter what it is, means very little without actions. And I created a quote years ago that I use on a daily basis, that dreams, and I hope everyone writes this down, dreams are only dreams until we take the actions to ignite them. So think about whatever actions that you can take right now, tomorrow, the next day, to ignite those dreams and ignite your vision, whatever it is that you want to be.
I love it. Thank you. Jon Absey.
I have, holy crap, you guys are that's amazing what you guys all said. Now you guys got to remember, I wasn't mine for 25 years, so I'm not sure what I have to finish with. This is I guess what I would say is, listening to everything and how we talk today, it felt like we were all over the place. I know we were here, kind of moving into that one spot, but I think what people need to do is just relax. And Kellan, like you were saying earlier, is just let things happen the way they're going to happen. Don't try and overthink things. I think, like I said before, really getting up in the morning and just looking at who you are as a person and how you can affect the world is what you should be doing. And that is one thing that will, no matter what, like you could have a vision to do this or a vision to do that, and you possibly are going to fail, or you're going to have to bust your ass to get it done. But I think I think the success in life is just enjoying life. I think people get so caught up in the vision and finding an alignment and finding this and finding that. And you're so worried about it. You know, I read this book. This is what he said I should be doing. Well, I heard from this guy, this is what you should be doing. Or I should be taking these vitamins. It's like, you know what? Just live your life the best you possibly can for you and for others. And you need to look at everybody as, and I know I'm Christian too, but I mean, you look at everybody as brothers and sisters, and everybody's going through their trials, and you just as a human being need to just be there for them in a small way or a big way. If you can affect their life, almost like, I don't even know what it's called, where you drop the ball and they hit, you know, and I just feel that that's what we're here to do, is to bump into people and we bounce them off and we affect things that they do. And like, I'm adding it up, 8 of you, and I'm taking something from every one of you. I'm 55 years old, and I still feel like I got holes, like in a puzzle. Like, I'm like, oh man, I like what you said, and I'm going to shove that in, and I'm looking, so by the time I die, that I'm a full puzzle and I've completed everything. And I feel like I've done the best I could for humanity and for myself and for my family and for my friends. And, you know, hopefully left an imprint on this planet. But I mean, I just feel that, you know, I think you guys are all amazing, and you guys have just blown my mind today. So thank you.
I love it. Yeah.
What a way to end. Wow.
Beautiful show, guys. Thank you all for all that you do. We've appreciated getting to know each of you on our show. And this takes your expertise to another level. It just shows, you know, that it's in all of us. We all are already giants. It's not like we have to go out there and find something. It's already in there. We just uncover it and become it. And so that's what you guys offer, is through your lives, you're an inspiration to others of how to be that. And we're just incredibly grateful for you. Thank you for a great show. Thank you for teaching us about vision. For those that are watching, remember, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're right on time. Keep stepping. Don't give up. Don't give up on you. We will see you in the next episode. Make it a giant night.